Robservations with Robert, Meyer, Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, and, a number of other names people have hung on me. Welcome to Robservations Midnighter, episode number 19. Yeah, this show that started out as an experiment is still going strong. Of course, this is the show where we meet you. You will be invited to come on the show. It's like a late night radio show. So get your camera ready, get your microphone ready, and you'll come on the show. I couldn't do a Robservations today. I got very busy with work, as you know. Tango Shalom for All, it's been picked up for distribution, and they're hitting the ground running because they're going to go to the Cannes Film Festival, to the market there. The movie's not in the festival, but it's at the market. There's a giant international film market where a lot of distributors go to show their movies and sell them to the rest of the world, or maybe to a big streaming service. Who knows? But because I was not only the producer of Tango Shalom and the editor, I'm also the post supervisor and the VFX supervisor, so everything falls to me. I have to deliver everything. So suddenly I was given a massive to-do list of everything that needs to happen very, very quickly, so our new distributors can take the film and the trailers and the movie posters and everything that we generated. Thank God we generated it already, so they can take it with them. So that's what I had to do today. My computer was constantly chattering away, sending assets, so I apologize for not doing a Robservation. Usually when I don't do a Robservation during the day, whether it's even during the week or during the weekday, it's usually because, or in the weekends, it's usually because there's something, not that I didn't want to do it, but I'm actually doing it for work. So I'm kind of disassociated from any entertainment news that fell today. And of course, the new episode of Loki is airing here right now, and I'm missing it. But before jumping on the show, I'm like, oh God, I got to do a Midnighter tonight. So I was looking for articles, and I don't know how I found this. I haven't read this article. I don't think that I've ever not read an article before I've read it live on the show, so I can't tell you if this article is even any good. It's not something I would normally read, but this was on Medium, and it was written on December 16th, it was published on December 16th, 2020, and I saw it, and it had a picture of Harrison Ford from Empire Strikes Back, and I'm looking at it, and the headline was, "The Disappointing Greatness of a Man Like Harrison Ford." And I'm like, oh God, the disappointing greatness. So I'm going to tell you, I have no idea what this article's about, but I'm going to share it with you. And if it's just a dumpster fire, hey, we're going to share this article together. Now, Shannon Ashley wrote this on it was published December 16th, 2020. And you can probably follow her. I know nothing about her. I don't know what her deal is with Harrison Ford, but we're about to find out. Here we go. Fingers crossed. I first fell in love with Harrison Ford when I was just 8 years old. As much as any 8-year-old could fall in love with a stranger. Back then, all of my peers were obsessed with Joey from New Kids on the Block and Brad Pitt. They also went gaga over various boys' looks, boys in school and the popular Tiger Beat boys on TV, but I never really understood their appeal. I was a young Star Wars saga fan, and for many years, The Empire Strikes Back was my idea of a perfect movie romance. Without being able to tell you exactly why, I fell hard for the scruffy-looking nerf herder, and that love seeped into my adoration of Ford in other roles like Indiana Jones as well. It wasn't just a bad boy thing. Ford just happened to frequently embody what I thought the whole package was. Often he appeared confident, a little cocky, quiet, and tough to know. I didn't grow up with healthy men in my life, and somewhere along the way I learned to equate good men with somewhat difficult ones. In my mind, Han Solo and Indy were these larger-than-life males who were savvy, worldly, and worth the trouble. You know, You knew they'd been heartbreakers, but they also had a marshmallow soft center that only the right woman could melt. That's how I saw it anyway. Did I know I wasn't really in love? Of course. At 8 years old, I understood that I didn't even know the guy. Furthermore, I knew the Hollywood actor had way too many years on me. Those things don't kill an intense celebrity crush, however. I daydreamed that maybe one day, even in some alternate reality, he'd have a younger brother or a son who was more appropriate for me. Was it an absurd fantasy? Obviously, but that's childhood for you. You grow up with some ridiculous beliefs, whether you talk about them or not. On screen, it was Ford's gruffness and hidden heart of gold that always did me in. At least that's what I gleaned from his iconic roles. Without any real-life knowledge of the man off screen, I fell for the notion that he was a rarity in Hollywood, a gentleman, a family man, and a devoted husband. Magazines certainly encouraged my view. I once read and tore out for safekeeping a People article that described the actor as a faithful family man who rarely spent even a night away from his beloved wife. In a world where Hugh Grant made headlines for cheating on Elizabeth Hurley with a prostitute, and Ben Affleck would later catch flack for hanging out at a strip club when he was engaged to Jennifer Lopez, Harrison Ford seriously stood out. He's one of the good guys, I thought to myself. Clearly, I was incredibly young and naive about men and relationships. Uh-oh. Ford's clean image shifted over the years. He grew older, got divorced, and coupled up with a much younger Callista Flockhart. In a silly, snobby, and certainly jealous way, the match seemed odd to fans like me. There were 22 years between them, and Ford already had 2 failed marriages under his belt. Fans thought Ford was being fickle or shallow, and women enviously eyed Flockhart. It's not as if we had a right to weigh in on the relationship or to decide that Ford wasn't who we thought because he got divorced twice. He was always a stranger. What we wanted from him was larger than life itself. Even so, Ford's clean and cool image repaired itself over time. He and Flockhart got together back in 2002 and married in 2010. When the pair first met, the actress had just adopted an infant son, and Ford, who already had 4 children of his own, jumped right into the role of father once again. But in 2017, public opinion of Ford would begin to shift again when the late Carrie Fisher revealed that she and Harrison Ford had an affair while filming Star Wars. Shwing. At first, fans were all aglow about the once forbidden romance, as in swoon. Today, it's not that simple. Carrie Fisher said that when she first told her Star Wars co-star Harrison Ford that she was publishing her old diaries as a memoir with him in it, he raised his finger and simply said, "Lawyer." It's not a difficult scene to picture. Ford has portrayed enough sort of gruff men to make that kind of interaction feel completely natural. What followed, however, is something really tragic. Fisher told Ford to read her manuscript before she published it and to let her know if he objected to any of it. When she never heard back from him about the book, she assumed everything was okay. The way she spoke about the whole thing, I get the sense that she felt relieved on one hand because he never objected any further. But to be honest, I also think it's probable that he never read it. Over the years, his responses to the whole thing have been so cryptic and detached, it's hard to believe he ever took the time to hear what she had to say. At this point, my heart sort of just hurts for her because I really think that Carrie Fisher wanted Harrison Ford to read the book. More importantly, I believe she wanted him to say something, perhaps anything, to her about those diary entries, about their time together. I think she wanted him to tell her that their affair actually meant something. In her final years, Carrie Fisher often spoke of Harrison Ford with such longing, how she didn't know what he thought about anything, how she wanted to know. For fans and outsiders, it's tempting to romanticize the whole affair. Oh, and there's a part of our brains that just loves the idea of Princess Leia and Han Solo actually falling in love. Except it wasn't really love. If you look at the story that Carrie Fisher really told, the whole thing is so painfully tragic and offers an awfully disappointing look at Harrison Ford himself. Back in 1977, Carrie Fisher was just 19 years old. Harrison was 33, married, and had 2 kids. While the public might recall Fisher as a brilliant and gorgeous back then, she felt entirely awkward and insecure. She attended George Lucas's birthday party in London that year and wound up being one of the only women in the room. The male crew members kept trying to get her drunk, and she went along with the drinking just to fit in. Some of the men became a little extra handsy and clearly wanted to take the young new movie star away to have sex. Harrison, whom we can only assume Fisher already worshipped, swooped in to, save the princess. "Pardon me," he tells a crew member who claims Fisher wants to get a little air, but the lady doesn't seem very aware of what she wants. An argument breaks out and Ford yanks Fisher away from the party and into a car and starts making out with her. So he actually didn't save the day. Instead, he told one dude not to take advantage of her, and then he took advantage of her himself. Sigh. The affair between Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford did not last long. She said it only lasted 3 months, yet it clearly impacted her for the rest of her life. When Fisher wrote about the affair with Ford, she never blamed him. While she admitted that she thought he was embarrassed for people to find out, she didn't accuse him of using her or of really doing any of her wrong. However, she did admit that she let him hurt her. She also went on record to say that she'd wish she'd gotten involved with Mark Hamill instead because maybe it would have meant more. And my God, I find her word choices really enlightening but heartbreaking too. In The Princess Diarist, Carrie Fisher just didn't reveal the affair with Harrison Ford. She revealed her most honest and vulnerable self. Fisher clearly loved Ford. Fisher clearly still loved Ford. Sure, it was an unrequited love, and I've long said that unrequited love isn't the real thing. But had Harrison Ford never taken advantage of a teenager in the back of a car, a 19-year-old is not a teenager, I suspect her love never would have been so painful or intense. He gave her hope. Not the healthy kind, mind you. He gave her the crushing and self-destructive sort of hope that if only she was somehow different or somehow better, he would want her and more of her. While there's still time for Kerrison to grow old together, that gateway is steadily closing. If we're going to get back together, we're going to have to do it soon, says Carrie Fisher in The Princess Diarist. To think she wrote those words knowing that Harrison Ford was and still is married to Callista Flockhart might seem strange. I think it shows just how deeply the affair pressed against her psyche. There's a choice we make when we fall for bad love and unavailable lovers. In a nutshell, we give them our all. We make ourselves smaller and uglier in our minds just so they can continue to shine in fantastic perfection. I have no doubt that Fisher found herself in a toxic relationship with Harrison Ford, and the fact that she appears to have never faced the truth is, unsurprisingly, when you look at the way we revere these men. Fisher lived her whole life beneath intense scrutiny that Ford will never really be able to grasp. She struggled beneath the shadow of her famous parents, her mental illness and addiction, and our culture's constant criticism over her appearance. Just because she was so vocal about dealing with her issues doesn't mean her experiences didn't bring her deep pain. On the contrary, part of the reason she opened up so much was just to release some of that pain. It didn't always work, of course, but over the years I know she's helped so many others cope. I wonder, though, how she really felt about all those stories about her former lover. Harrison the family man, Harrison the faithful husband, Harrison the good guy. Did she feel the full weight of irony there? How can I describe the disappointing greatness of men like Harrison Ford? Plenty of people have no problem saying that a 19-year-old Carrie Fisher knew exactly what she was getting herself into. I'd argue that The Princess Diarist proves she did not. Not really. And she rose to fame. As she rose to fame, she thought only of him. How many poor choices in her life happened just because she was trying to cope with the pain? Just because she blamed herself for the affair? That doesn't mean she was the most culpable. What about the grown man with a wife and 2 children at home? People like to forget that Harrison Ford had an entire life, a normal life, long before he got into acting. He didn't grow up in the spotlight. He never had to worry about Hollywood taking advantage of his youth or innocence. He was a Boy Scout, for fuck's sake, and actually made it to the top tier of Life Scout. When Ford didn't like the roles he was getting as an actor, he left Hollywood and worked as a carpenter to support his family. Star Wars was Fisher's second film, whereas it was Ford's 8th, and he'd already been working in Hollywood for more than 10 years. We know that he was aware enough to recognize George Lucas's birthday party that his co-star was in no condition to consent to sex with a crew member, yet that's the moment he chose to start their affair? I mean, come on. Just the facts that he would say, the lady doesn't seem to be very aware of what she wants, and then make a move on her when she's drunk at 19 and he's married at 33 is really just gross. And there's no justifying that sort of behavior. At that moment, maybe he felt like a tough guy. I'm sure she felt that he was a badass full of intoxicating swagger and charisma. I get her side of things, but I also get that he was the real adult and he should have acted like it. Don't you wish he'd treated Fisher with more respect? What is it with the men we deem to be great? Why must they often treat women so poorly too? Recently when I watched The Affair in its entirety, I was struck by this question the main character, Noah Soloway, had about being supposedly a great man. He asked his therapist, is it possible to be a good man and a great one? Noah questioned this because he saw many great men have also been cheaters, people like Jefferson, Hamilton, Picasso, and Hemingway. Thankfully, the therapist reminds him that there are great men who never cheat and desperately ordinary men who are chronic cheaters too. Sometimes people just want excuses to do whatever the hell they want, and Noah still wanted to be a famous writer and fuck a lot of women without worrying about consequences to his marriage or reputation. Sometimes I think we almost encourage men to think that way just by the way we embrace the so-called great men. We have this tendency to think that a man who excels at his career must also excel in their personal life. It's ridiculous, really. Ford is a great actor who's brought many interesting characters to life, but being a great actor doesn't make someone a great person or a great partner. Hell, being a great partner to some people doesn't make them a great partner to everyone. He wasn't a great partner to Carrie Fisher. He wasn't a great lover. As uncomfortable as it is to admit, Harrison Ford clearly used Carrie Fisher and never seemed too concerned with the consequences, like how it might impact her. The whole affair is very sad. It feels like a brutal reminder to not place famous men on pedestals, to speak more openly about consent. We talk a lot more about sexual consent these days, but I don't think we should. I don't think we're approaching emotional consent as often as we should. It's easy to say, oh, Carrie Fisher was living in a fantasy, but at 19 years old, who doesn't? And why should she be the only one responsible when he clearly led her on? Because yes, in most cases, I'm going to say the 33-year-old married person is leading the 19-year-old on. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Are they wrong? Really? So I'm just putting it out there. Perhaps we've been prioritizing the wrong things and the wrong men. Perhaps it's time to finally deal with the disappointing greatness of men like Harrison Ford and actually expect more decency from our men. 30 years from now, I don't want to hear about more highly esteemed men who turned out to be abusive or have questionable dating practices, and I don't want to hear about one more sexual harassment allegation against a man with power and think, well, I'm not surprised. I want these types of revelations to become rare or shocking because we're raising better men, because we're done looking the other way or making shitty excuses for their poor behavior, and because more men actually get the problem with looking great while using others on the down low. How interesting. And then there's all these pictures. There's pictures of this affair during this time with Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford. Well, this was a different article. I don't know if I would have chosen to have read it if I'd read the article before, to be honest. But that's what this late night show is all about. You just never know what I'm going to step into. And clearly I wasn't necessarily thinking about stepping into that. But it does bring up a good point. And the point that I think it brings up is, you know, I find that we are now living in a world where everyone expects people to somehow become perfect. Like, you know, we're now all going to become no one's going to be racist, and no one's going to be sexist, and no one's going to be misogynist, and no one's going to be whatever no one's going to be anymore. This is, I think, troubling to me, because it doesn't allow for the humanity of all of us. We're not people. We can't work and live in absolutes. You know, we can't decide one day that, oh, I'm not going to be this way. I mean, I think all you can do is do better. You know, life, it's a daily occurrence, and you try and be a better person every day, and hopefully that you can bring a little bit of joy and a little bit of help into people's lives. I think that's what we're supposed to do. You know, we're communal creatures, and we want to build a community that functions. And yet, as human beings, you know, we're also biological animals that are tied to our biosphere, and we are the way we are. Some people would say that we're the way that God made us, and it's a constant choice. And I'll tell you, you know, for all of the stories that I think I read about men that do things that women deem, well, less than ideal, I can tell you an equal number of stories about women who do things usually in a different way that are equally not as ideal. I certainly know that I personally have been in past relationships where certain things went on in those relationships that were very harmful and interesting and toxic and fun all at the same time, that I didn't really quite understand, but it was not something that I was doing. I was a willing participant, but men and women are just, you know, we're different. We're different kinds of people. We have different ways of looking at the world, and things manifest in our lives differently. But, you know, I don't think that this author is making a lot out of. I mean, maybe reading into Carrie Fisher's The Princess Diarist this way is something that maybe the author is correct about. But I think that Carrie Fisher, growing up the way she grew up, she was rather worldly early on. So it's interesting. But I feel that the big lesson here is that we always expect the actors that we know to exactly be the characters that are on screen. And one of the things I was trying to convey in Free Enterprise is that's not true. You know, the idea of seeing an actor playing a part on screen or on television, that's not any indication of what that person is in real life. They're playing a character. The character has been written down for them to play. There's no reason to suspect that an actor who's playing a certain part embodies any of the qualities of the character they're playing on screen. That makes no sense. And I know it's hard. It's a disconnect that we all have. And we don't know, well, do I want Harrison Ford to be Han Solo? Do I want him to be Indiana Jones? Do I want him to be Rusty Savage from Presumed Innocent? Sure. But he's not. He's a guy that has to go through his life on this planet the way everybody does. And with the added burden of celebrity. I know you can say, well, like you said, he dabbled in it and then found success later on. But I just think we need to remember about our actors and the people around us, sports heroes, all the people that we might admire. At the end of the day, they might have accomplished some great things in their lives that, of course, we're not going to take away from them. But at the end of the day, they're just people. They're people doing, actually, I think, successful people in the arts and in sports. They're following their bliss. And if they spent a lifetime working on some particular thing, whether it was basketball or painting, and they excel at it, that should be laudable. That should be something that we celebrate. That's what human beings are supposed to do. But just because somebody's great on a ball field, or they're a great actor, or they're a great painter or something, we can't necessarily expect them to be a fully actualized human being that's only going to do everything great all the time. And I think it's a mistake to think that way about anyone. All we can do is try and do better. And every day is day to do better than you did yesterday. So it's all good. I don't know why my eyes can't seem to focus tonight. Ron C. sends in a super chat and says, "Hey, Rob, I just finished watching Streets of Fire." I love Streets of Fire. Streets of Fire. Question. 3 screenplays drop on your desk. Streets of Fire, Eddie and the Cruisers, and The Philadelphia Experiment. Your leading man is Michael Pare. Which would you direct and why? Ooh, I love questions like this. You know what? I think I would go with Eddie and the Cruisers. As much as I like Streets of Fire and The Philadelphia Experiment, which is kind of a fun science fiction film, I would go with Eddie and the Cruisers because the subject matter is more down to earth, and I really found that movie very appealing. Dark side's coming now, nothing is real. She'll never know just how I feel. From out of the shadows she walks like a dream. Make me feel crazy, make me feel I can't sing tonight. I'm just, I gotta have more liquor to go for the karaoke, man. You know what I'm saying? Good question, though. Nick Markin sends in a super chat and says, "Rob, oh man, with a film like The Goonies, where 2 filmmakers are involved, with Spielberg writing and producing, but Richard Donner directing, whose film is it? Is it a Spielberg film or is it a Richard Donner film?" It is a Richard Donner film, Nick. Listen, the director is really, I am a big fan of and believer in the auteur theory. When you're working on a film, anyone who's worked on a movie or television, actually on movies, let's make this television different. When you work on a feature film, all the decisions are filtered through the sensibility of the director. It really is a director's film. They have to make, that doesn't mean they can't have collaborators like a producer or a writer like Spielberg or whatever. But what's happening is all the imagery is being filtered through the director's mind. And good directors manage all of those people and then make them work for them. The directors are the authors of the movie. It's a very collaborative medium, and I know a lot of people in the Writers Guild or screenwriters right now are going, "Rrr." But look, man, a screenplay is not a movie. Yes, do you need a screenplay? Do you need a great screenplay to make a great movie? Yes, you do. But a screenplay is a written work. And to translate that written work, every single thing in a movie, everything you see within the proscenium, there's a proscenium on the stage, but I always say the proscenium of the frame, everything that you see in that frame, the director, it's filtered through their vision. So I think absolutely for feature films that's the case. I do. So I would say that it is a Richard Donner movie. And I do believe that. I'm going to drop in a. We should talk about this. These are good subjects. So that is not what I wanted to send you. So this is going to be that. And again, I would ask, if you've been on this show before, please hang back, and let's see if we can get somebody new, a new voice. I always want to talk to somebody new. But there is the link. If anybody wants to come on the show, they can. And we'll see where the Midnighter takes us. Because I don't know where it's going to go. I never know. Oh, Andy's here. Our friend Andy. Andy, all the way from. Wait, can you? You can hear me, Andy. Okay. All right, Andy is all the way from Argentina, and Andy did something very nice for me. He found something I wanted, and he's going to tell me bad news about it. I could see it in his eyes. Now, hang on. I'm gonna put you in. I'm gonna put you in, Andy. We got someone else here too. Yep, I can hear you. And we have Mr. King. Can you hear me, Mr. King? All right. And your first name is Iliam? Oh, okay, William. There's no W. There was a. It's. I'll put. No. Oh well, no worries. I'm going to. I'll put you in, Coach. Let me just put your name up on the screen, and this will be. I'm going to call you Willie, Willie, or Willy. All right, you got a Y there. So Willie, hang on before yeah, let me put you in. I'm going to put you both into the show. This is fun. So, first of all, Andy, I was very happy to get your message about. Well, we'll. Oh yeah, turn yourself down. I had girlfriends that used to say that to me. Turn yourself down, Rob. Turn yourself down. I like that. I always like that term. I thought that was kind of funny. So you good, Willie? I'm bringing you guys. All right, well, I'm bringing you on the show. You guys are live. We've got both Andy in the center square and Willie on the right square. Now, Willie, I got to ask you, I know that Andy is coming to us from Argentina. Willie, where are you from? Where are you coming from right now? Can you hear me?
We can't hear him.
You spit. We couldn't hear. Willie, we can't
Yeah,
hear.
I'm up.
Oh, we got you?
Yeah.
Okay. Here
So,
we go.
Willie, where are you coming to us from tonight?
I'm coming to you from Port Orchard, Washington.
A Washingtonian, just like I am.
Yeah, I'm not too far away.
Yeah, I'm in California now, but so that's pretty cool. Okay, so and Andy, first of all, I want to thank you. First of all, since you're here, I want to thank you tell the folks what you've done for me.
Well, can you hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right?
Damn.
Okay, great. Actually, I found a movie that Rob wanted for, I don't know what, 20 years or 15 years or
Yep.
I don't know.
An Argentinian science fiction film called Mobius.
There's a very obscure Argentinian science fiction movie because in Argentina, the film industry is not that big, and our big movies are like $10 million as a lot, you know. But this is particularly a very obscure, very small Argentinian movie, you know. So actually, this wasn't that easy, but I found it pretty easy. I mean, it would have been easier if you asked me for a Ricardo Darín, another movie, you know what I mean? But because we have all the library from him. But in this case, I found the movie and I found it only on DVD. Now, you replied that it was okay because you're used to that. There are many movies, like maybe even some James Cameron movies, maybe like True Lies and
True
some
Lies.
other movies that are very big movies that are not on Blu-ray, right?
Yeah, the 4 Lightstorm movies that are not on Blu-ray in this country.
That's incredible.
The Abyss,
because that's not Mobius.
No, The Abyss, True Lies, Strange Days, and Steven Soderbergh's
It's incredible.
Solaris. Yeah, they're not on Blu-ray. I mean,
Well,
I have Strange Days. I got Strange Days and Solaris in Germany, but they're not available domestically.
Right. So I found the movie through, a kind of Amazon, eBay, Argentinian type, which is called Mercado Libre, that Disney knows very much because Disney is on partner with Mercado Libre here in Latin America to develop Stars, which is the Disney Plus channel, which is replacing the Fox channel
Right.
here in Latin America, Now, the Fox channel is not the Fox channel anymore because it doesn't exist anymore. So now it's turning into Stars, which is another name that they invented. So Disney partnered with Mercado Libre, which you don't know what it is, but it's like an Amazon Argentina and Amazon Latin America. It doesn't matter. So I found the movie there, and I particularly asked this guy who's selling it, does that have English subtitles? Because if it doesn't have English, I don't care about it, It's not for me. It's for a friend of mine. Yes, I mentioned you as my friend.
We're friends. I would say we're friends.
Okay, great. So it's a friend of mine who's a collector who saw this movie halfway and wanted to finish it. And so I found it and I already bought it. It's on its way. But before I send it to you, I'm going to check the movie. I'm going to check that it's all played well, that is from start to finish, that it actually has the English subtitle on it before I send it to you, America,
Right.
Because we don't want to have any surprises, right?
Well, if it doesn't have English subtitles, I would still watch it in Spanish because I know a little Spanish.
You should know that the movie is fully free on YouTube. If you put more views...
Really?
Yeah, but in Spanish, you don't have an English subtitles. You will not have English subtitles. You just have to, I don't know, have a translator or whatever. You have the full movie, and it's legally free on YouTube. So if we put Mobius 1996 on YouTube, I found it in 5 minutes, Rob.
Wow, I never even thought. I never even thought to do that.
But it's only in Spanish.
Wow.
You don't have it with English subtitles. You have the entire movie there on YouTube.
I'm doing this right now.
Right? You have it there.
Oh my! Not only is the movie on there, but the trailer's on there too.
But you don't have the English subtitles. You will appreciate better if you know what is happening and you have to, investigate every phrase and every sentence.
Wow, there's also a bunch of different versions of it. I had no idea.
I haven't looked into every detail, but I found the movie and I found it pretty particular. But I knew that you may enjoy it better if you have English subtitles, so I got the movie anyway. I'm gonna send it to you.
I want it in my collection. And by the way, one of these versions of this movie was put up on September 17th, 2019. And
right, you should know. The person who sold it to me told me something that I'm gonna verify when I receive the DVD, because I don't know if he's telling me the truth or whatever. That is that the movie has an American print on DVD, because the Argentinian industry didn't ever made a DVD. They just lived on VHS through the 90s, and then it died.
Wow.
So an American company, or I don't know if a UK company, I don't remember, just made a print on DVD, and there. We have it on DVD because of foreign countries. We don't have it because of Argentinian industry. That's pretty pathetic, but that's the way it is.
Interesting. Well, I want thank you for getting it for me. I very much appreciate the effort.
My pleasure, man.
I will be very excited to get it. I mean, it's just one of those movies too that it was, it was a very interesting film, and I, it's right up my alley. And it was one of those things where somebody loaned it to me. Like, I think it was somebody, it was looking for distribution, and they had a copy of it, or it was a festival version. They said, "You'd like this movie," and I watched it, and
I think it won a few festivals or a few awards or something. I don't know. I think I read that on Wikipedia.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know, it's a science fiction movie that takes place in sort of a future dystopian Buenos Aires, and a train in the subway system. It disappears. A train disappears.
Right. With all the people in it.
With all the people in it, vanishes, and it turns out that it might have vanished into another dimension because the train system turns out to be a Mobius loop, unbeknownst to anyone. And I mean, that's like right up my alley. That's some weird Twilight Zone stuff. So I thought I would.
And I saw something on the Wikipedia that actually struck me because I used the subway here in Buenos Aires. I live in Buenos Aires, and I used the subway. And I just read that the movie used some particular stations of some subway system here in Buenos Aires. And because the movie got famous about the stations that the movie filmed, they painted a whole wall of one of the stations with a picture of the movie with a recreation graphic. And I saw, wow, this is a very obscure movie. They painted a whole wall on the station to pay homage to the movie. That's great.
See, and it took an American on YouTube to tell you about a movie that your own countryman made.
Yeah, but you should know something, and I don't want to bore everybody with this, so I'll be as short as possible. I like the Argentinian film industry, but you should know that we, Argentina, are a very particular country, and I haven't said this the other times that I've been on the show, because I believe as an Argentinian that on every facet of our existence as a country, we are either incredibly horrible as anything or incredibly great. We don't have gray areas in this country. We either are the best or we're the worst. And applying it to the film industry, we either have horrible actors and horrible movies, or we have an Academy Award winning movie and 2 or 3 other Academy Award nominated. We don't have just an okay movie and okay actors. We have, in my opinion, of course, very bad actors and incredible actors. So I'm not the biggest fan of Argentinian films. I like some particular films that are very, very, very good, and the rest can all burn. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
that's just my opinion. Of course, many people can give some other opinion. This is mine, all right. But I know. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask Willie. I'm going to say, Willie, are you with us? I want to ask you what's on your mind this evening. I don't know if you can hear me. Maybe there's a delay. Well, okay, I'll ask you something else, Andy. And I mean this with all great respect. Have you seen an Academy Award? I think it's an Academy Award-winning short film called. They made a TV series out of it called Creature Comforts. It's a 5-minute animated short.
Oh, come on, Rob! You have to make it a little bit easier for me. That's not an Argentinian film, right?
Well, no. It's an animated film, and the reason I ask is because one of the characters, one of the animals, is Argentinian, and he sounds exactly like you. And
come on, really?
I love this short film. I love it, love it, love it. And
I'm not a adopted actor, so it wasn't me. All right.
But to see this movie is to love this movie. It's really interesting because they did 2 things. They went and they recorded people at an actual zoo, and then they recorded people that lived in an old folks' home, and they took those audio tracks, and then they animated the animals in the zoo using the actual the audio tracks they'd recorded of people at the zoo and older people at this old folks' home. And there's like a guy from. He might not be from Argentina, but my favorite character in this short film is this tiger that's sitting in this cage talking about he's in the UK and he wants to be in a warm country, and you would love it. It's one of
I want to ask you something. I want to use your 30 years experience on a question about some trope of Spanish language on movies that drives me crazy. Every single time I hear Spanish language on an American movie, all right?
Okay.
Now, sometimes we hear like a Mexican character or a character that's supposed to know how to speak Spanish, and you know you see the actor, and you can assume, okay, this is a Latin American actor, all right, or a Spanish actor. Then when he opens his mouth, or she opens his mouth, she or he speaks Spanish, and he speaks Spanish like somebody who learned Spanish for the movie. You know what I mean?
They probably did.
He's supposed to be the Latin guy on a movie. He's supposed to be somebody who speaks Spanish as a mother language, and he speaks Spanish, and we know because we're Latin Americans, you know? He speaks Spanish like somebody who looks Latin American, but speaks Spanish wrongly. I mean, he's got an accent, and it drives me crazy. It's really so difficult to find an actor that actually speaks Spanish and not some Latin actor who doesn't speak a word of Spanish, but he looks Spanish, you know? So he'll learn a few words, and now that's okay because nobody will notice. Yes, we notice.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, listen, I'm going to put right now, I the answer to that is I don't know. You know, I don't know why they don't get. It's not like we have a lack of people who speak Spanish here, because we don't. By the way,
how many Mexicans are in Los Angeles?
There's a lot. I'm gonna put the link to this short film. Now it's by Nick Park, who did the Wallace and Gromit movies.
Yeah.
Now this short film won an Academy Award for animated short. So I'm putting it in the live chat. It's only 5 minutes long.
How about Iliam King? He's there. Iliam, he doesn't hear us. Can you hear us?
William, I don't know. William,
I feel a little bit bad for him.
William, can you hear us? Because we can hear you.
Maybe he has something on his mic that is not, set up correctly or something.
William, I guess
because he's there. Okay.
Well, William, would you mind if I bring on somebody that can hear us or can talk? His mic isn't working. Oh man.
That's a bummer.
Well, listen, here, I'll bring somebody else on, but stick around because maybe you can come in a little later.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not working. We'll bring someone else in. We'll see if somebody else shows up. Well, hey, we'll see if we can bring someone else in.
Can I, in the meantime, can I recommend you another movie that you probably know or have heard sometime? It's an Argentinian movie. Remember, because I don't like the Argentinian film industry that much, all the Argentinian movies that I'm going to recommend are fabulous. You're going to love them because I love them, and I don't like Argentinian films, right? So this is a movie that was also nominated for an Oscar, and it's also a Juan Jose Campanella directed movie that is called Son of the Bride, and that's a very that's a very famous movie because it was nominated in 2001, and Adam Sandler bought the rights of the movie to make an American remake, and it never happened. I don't know if that's good or bad, but maybe you can look for it. Let's see if Jordan can hear us.
Jordan, can you hear me? All right, Jordan is here. We're going to bring Jordan in then.
That's great.
And good to have Jordan back here. Jordan, let me put you into the show and live streaming. So Jordan, welcome to the Midnighter again.
It's good to be here.
Why don't you tell everybody who might not be from yesterday or the day before where are you coming to us from?
I'm coming from very soggy Pensacola, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We're cleaning up after our first storm of the year. So
was it bad?
It was a shit ton of rain, to put it mildly, and there were two areas in the city where it looked like it had been hit by a tornado, and there's definitely some flooding damage in my apartment building. So,
wow. Yeah,
my sister lives in Florida, but in Margate. Yeah. It's not near you, I think.
I have something for you, Rob.
You do?
Yes. I showed you last time the Expanse soundtrack. Well, this week we have "So Say We All" by Bear McCreary.
Oh, is that the live? That's the live CD.
It's the live CD, and I literally got this a day after the storm this went away. So,
Have you listened to it yet?
yes, I have. It's the last song on there, track. Let's see. 13, I think it's the Colonial Anthem / Black Market. It is metal as frack.
I need to get that. So for those of you who don't know,
need to get that.
Bear McCreary did a live. I love that he did a live album of his own music from the Battlestar Galactica series, and I saw him because we're Facebook friends. I saw him promoting it, and I just what a cool idea! A live album by the original composer of his own score from Galactica. Yeah. I think that's just the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I think science fiction. You know, I'm into science fiction, but I'm also very much into the soundtracks from various science fiction shows, like of course Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5 has Christopher Franke from Tangerine Dream. Yeah, you have I can't remember. Who did the music for Deep Space Nine? I can't remember his name.
Well, Dennis McCarthy.
That's it, Dennis McCarthy. I've been collecting here and there the various soundtracks. Of course, the best soundtrack of them all is in my opinion, is James Horner's theme from Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3.
That's a great theme.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I love those, but I don't think it tops Goldsmith's score for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, though.
Oh, okay. I think it gets used a little too often, though. I would like for them. Yeah, I would have liked for them to have used a different score for the next gen movies, for the next generation in general. So I've heard the alternate score theme song for it, and it's great. It's really good.
No, I've got a lot of soundtracks. I mean, I still probably have. I got rid of so many of my CDs, but I still have probably 500 CD soundtracks. You know, I'm still. I'm looking at them now. I still have them all. But
like that.
Sometimes I'm amazed how you can keep all the things that you bought like 30 years ago and you have them like you bought them yesterday. I don't understand how you could do that, man. What are you, like some crazy guy that put everything on a metal box with all wires and all that? I don't know.
No, I kept things in pretty good shape. I mean, a lot of things I didn't. I mean, now I feel like I've got half things rotting in boxes, but the things I really cared about, I kept.
The other day you opened something that you bought, I think, on Japan, from Japan. Something of Japan that was very special to you. I don't remember what it was.
Was it UFO laser discs?
Maybe, yes. And you said that was like 30 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
But that was new, man. That shined.
Oh yeah, well I kept all my laser discs in vinyl protector sleeves. Like, look at this,
incredible, man.
Surak of Vulcan sends in a super chat and says a 35mm HD scan of the keep out there. Am I interested? Hell yeah! And look, it's never far away. But here's my keep laser disc. My letterbox keep laserdisc, and they've made Blu-rays off this, but you these are the vinyl sleeves that I all my laserdiscs were in,
right?
And so even this, I mean, this has got to be 30 years old, and it looks pretty much brand new,
incredible.
So I mean, what's really interesting about this stuff now, though, is I don't think I've looked at a laserdisc. I still have a working laserdisc player. I don't think I've looked at a laserdisc in 20 years.
But it doesn't matter. It's just a collecting thing. You collect stuff, and that's great.
I mean, well, it was just it was a movie thing, and then when I was a kid, it was movies. I actually collected the same things: movies, movie soundtracks, action figures or model kits from movies. You
said that you haven't used your Laserdisc player for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Do you know if it still works?
I don't. I should. It's right here. I should plug it in. It's not hooked up to anything though. I mean, I could tell right away if it would just fire it up and put in a laser.
Maybe.
I mean, The problem is, I think that there's a lot of people, like I've thought about giving my Laserdiscs away, and there's groups that collect but the thing about Laserdiscs is the video, NTSC video compared to say 4K video is garbage. I mean, that's like low resolution YouTube videos, and it's amazing to go back and watch NTSC video, and that was what we had for 50 years, and it's just amazing we put up with it. Terrible.
But it doesn't matter because it represents a part of your life that will never go away. You always remember it because you have that stuff, you know?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the time that you said, no, it wasn't in Instagram, that you put a picture of you with the Batman ticket.
Yeah.
And somebody asked you, do you still have the ticket? Yes, I do. You still have the ticket, man. 35 years?
32 years ago, yeah.
Years. That's incredible, man. 32 years, you still have the ticket. It was a big ticket, like the ones on the premiere. That was great.
Oh,
man.
they were pre-printed, and you had to get them. You got them in an envelope with some swag. I mean, it was.
That's something great about America. You can experience that. You know, you go to cinema, you go to the actor. In Argentina, we will never have that, you know, but doesn't matter. We have some other great things.
Yeah, well, it was a bizarre. It was really interesting because I was. It came out in the summer after I finished my senior year at USC, and they were giving away a certain amount of tickets to the public for this premiere, and you had to come at like the way I remember it. It was like you had to come at like midnight. On like a Sunday night, you had to come, and we did. We were coming back from Lake Tahoe or something, my friend Wayne and I, and we went and stood in line and got these tickets. And
I can't believe what it could have been, what it was for you. You know, for how long were you reading Batman where Batman 89 came out? For how long?
Oh, when I was a little kid, I was reading Batman comics, watching
like 5 or 6.
Yeah, and then I watched the 60s Batman TV series, the Adam West and Burt Ward stuff, and
that was on Syndicate because you in '66 you weren't alive.
I wasn't born. Yeah, I wasn't alive.
Right.
But you know, in the '70s they played it on TV all the time, and
absolutely,
I was
Argentina too.
I was a big superhero fan, but you know, I started collecting because of Star Wars. Actually, Star Wars and Jaws, I started collecting soundtrack albums. And that's really all that I listened to. Jordan, when did you start listening to soundtrack albums?
Oh, dear gods. The first one I ever got was the Star Wars Miko Disco album.
I had that with that awesome space
and
girl
I
on the
had
cover.
I had my TIE Fighter. I would listen to that. I would have my toy TIE Fighter, my toy X-Wing, and we had a couch that you could like maneuver, and it looked like the Death Star trench. You could do the trench run, and I would play that, and I would, you know, 7 or 8-year-old me would go, you know, through the couch, terrorizing the cats. So
I love that Miko record.
It is great.
It's great. I think I have that on CD somewhere, but I love that.
Probably.
But that was for me. It was, you know, Star Wars was the first time I really started listening. That album, I think everybody had that album, the 2-disc soundtrack album that came with a poster inside, and that was what started. But then that's when I started listening to, you know, John Williams. I realized, he scored other movies.
Yep.
You know, and John Williams led me. It was the 2 soundtracks I listened to the most because was Logan's Run and Star Trek or Star Wars, because Logan's Run came out in '76, and I love the music for that. It was Jerry Goldsmith doing both symphonic and electronic music, some really weird.
You know what composer I love from that area? John Carpenter.
Oh yeah,
John Carpenter from like Escape from New York.
Oh,
that music, it transports me to the movie, you know? Like, it's incredible. And it's just a synthesizer. It's very simple.
The soundtrack from The Thing. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
Yeah.
Dun, dun. And just,
John Carpenter,
yeah,
man.
it just slowly ratchets up the tension.
That was Ennio Morricone.
Yeah.
That's a great... And they just announced they're going to release that on 4K, the Thing on 4K, which will be,
oh my God,
which will be nice.
Yes.
It's going to be amazing. Did you have the Blade Runner soundtrack by Vangelis.
Yeah, and it was really at first it was really hard to get because
Yeah.
they didn't originally release his music. They had a sound-alike score because you couldn't get the Vangelis music. But I had a bootleg of it for a long time, which was okay, and then they finally released his music for real. I think that it was like the New American Orchestra or something did the Blade Runner soundtrack. And it's not good.
I don't remember, but the reason why I started playing alto saxophone was because of that movie, of that scene where he's confronting Rachel and he shoves her against the piano and says "kiss me" or something like that.
Yep.
And that sax starts playing. I said, I want to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Rob, can I ask you something?
The saxophone, not do Rachel. So.
Rob, can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
We're just talking about the '89 Batman, and you're a very, very big Prince fan. What did you think about that soundtrack about Prince? I think you already said it, but I don't remember it. What you thought about it?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I love Prince. I find the Batman soundtrack to be a little hit and miss. The two songs on it that I loved were Electric Chair and The Future. I thought those two tracks were really good. But I mean, there's some great Prince stuff in it. The problem was I thought that it was a little incongruous with the rest of the movie. Like, I thought the Danny Elfman score and Prince's music, I mean, Prince's music is mostly used as it's source music, meaning it's always playing like from some it's playing in the movie itself as opposed to being score.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a word for that. I always forget the word for it. When the music's
like in the parade with the Joker.
The parade, like, and Party Man, the parade, and also you hear a lot of the music on boom boxes and things that are in the.
Right, I understand. Right.
And I think that, Tim Burton wanted him to do that, but I don't necessarily think it's the best thing for the movie.
Okay.
But Party Man kind of works, but it's a little odd. I much prefer Prince's music, his songs, in other movies like Risky Business, for instance.
Purple Rain. I saw Purple Rain not long ago for the first time. Yeah, I know.
Purple Rain. I love Purple Rain.
I mean, but the thing is that I'm always late for everything. It doesn't matter. But the thing is that I saw Purple Rain like a couple of months ago because of you. So I saw the movie. I was curious, and I love Prince. It's like a god, and I liked it. I didn't expect to like because I'm not too great with musicals, But I will see Tango Shalom. Don't worry about that. But it's not like musicals are my first choice. I'm sorry if somebody is a very big fan of musicals there, but I saw Purple Rain and I thought it was great. It is
great. Yeah. It's aged well too. It almost feels like a science fiction movie that's taking place in some weird alternate universe where everybody. I loved it too. I mean, and the music is great, but yeah, I really like Purple Rain.
Not an actor either. I don't know what you think about Prince as an actor. What are your thoughts on that?
It's not a strong suit. It's not a strong suit, but
he did what he can.
Yeah. But I do think the movie still works, and it's Morris Day and Jerome are very funny, and there's a lot of stuff in that movie I really, really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have the Prince Blu-ray box set of Under the Cherry Moon, Purple Rain, and Graffiti Bridge.
And your drum, it's like a drum that you have there from Prince that you always put.
Yeah, tambourine.
Tambourine. I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I bought this when he played the Staples Center here in LA. This was like $80 or something, but I'm like, worth it.
Lucky son of a bitch.
Yes, I have to. It's one of the very many tchotchkes on the walls here. There's so much crap in this. I can't even tell you.
You know that I'm studying sound mixing and sound mastering, even though I've been studying this for 4 years and I'm already working, and all that. My teacher, and now is sort of my partner in sound mixing, does not only love Prince. He tells me, because I'm a metal guy, I like Slayer, I like Metallica, you know this.
Yeah.
And I play that music. So when I start sound mixing and sound mastering, he told me, you should learn from Prince sound. You should listen to Prince. That's good. That's the golden standard. If you can reach even closer to that, you're okay. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Did he ever give you examples of songs, particular songs to listen to?
And not particular songs. He is particularly crazy about some particular live shows.
Oh,
and
right.
he told me about some recent live shows, from 2011 or something. And he told, I haven't watched them yet because I have a whole lot of music that I need to listen to. But the thing is that he told me, this is the show, listen to this show, that's great sound. And I have to pay attention. It's like homework, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I love that homework. It's not like painful homework. You know what I mean?
Jordan, do you have, other than soundtrack music, are you at all a rock and roller? Do you have other groups that you listen to?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, good.
I mean, I grew up on classic rock, but I had an uncle who was into classic Motown.
Oh, nice.
And soul and funk. And there's a great YouTube channel you should check out. It's called Polyphonic. And this guy does deep dives on various musicians and songs, ranging from Pink Floyd to Nina Simone to early jazz. I mean, it's amazing.
I'm finding that right now. I just subscribed. I subscribed to Polyphonic. There's another guy, the professor of rock, that who's pretty cool, but I haven't seen anything that he's done. I keep missing his. Yeah. I subscribe to his channel, but for whatever reason, I haven't heard much of it. But yeah, there's a lot of great music channels on YouTube.
I grew up on various kinds of music, country and Western, and believe me, there's like a separation line. We got two types of music we play in here: country and Western. And then you've got classic rock. I grew up on that. Modern rock. I was a big U2 fan back in the 80s. God help me.
Right.
Yeah. And then I kind of evolved towards the Cranberries, Sinead O'Connor, Clannad. For some reason, I'm into like really older type music from like the late 60s.
Yeah.
Early 80s. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I turned a certain age this year. So I'm kind of like looking back at it with retrospective kindness, I suppose.
Yeah. But I feel the same way because, the music, I mean, I'm a child of the 80s, really.
Yeah,
and,
you and me both.
There was so much great, I mean, it was everything. It was pop culture, it was fashion, it was music, it was everything, and it all informed each other. Like, I've often said that when the movie The Hunger came out, Tony Scott's first feature film, it opens with Bauhaus singing Bela Lugosi's Dead, and it's actually Bauhaus in the club singing. And and it's awesome. And I remember, because I knew Bela Lugosi's Dead already, and it was, to me, that was like that song is the stairway to heaven of goth music, and or the I can't get no satisfaction of goth music, and it was great to see that. And so it was interesting because Bauhaus gave way to Tones on Tail, which became Love and Rockets. So and then they're playing in the movie The Hunger, so you had to know all of these things, and it sort of informed all of pop culture, and I love that about living in the 80s. Yeah. The same was true of the big genre novels that would come out. Stephen King, when a new Stephen King book came out, it was as big as a movie release.
Yeah,
it's
V.C.
like
Andrews.
Yeah, The
really
Flowers in the Attic.
Every girl in high school read that.
Oh yeah, and I read it too. I mean, you're right. Every girl in high school read that book.
Yeah,
every girl.
I'm very grateful of the career that I'm following, because I was a metal dude my whole life, and that's great. but in some aspects, that makes you a very close-minded musical fan. You know what I mean? Because the people who like some kind of heavy metal, like me, I was a fan of thrash metal, and that's a very close-minded. It's not like hair metal or glam metal, though, where maybe fans of I don't know, guys from the '60s and Black Sabbath from the early '70s and all that. We were like the renegades, you know what I mean? So actually, the first stuff that I listened when I was 7 years old was actually Metallica, but it was because Metallica in '87 came out with Injustice for All, and I saw it as a 7-year-old, and I saw it on a show in Argentina that we have every Saturday morning. I was 7 years old, and it was called, the show, it was called Rock and Patsy, you know? And that's the name of the show. And that show actually perform all the actual bands. And one day I remember it's one of my early memories of listening to music and paying attention. These 4 dudes on a warehouse just headbang, you know, and I was thinking like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? But I was like fixed on this, you know. And then the Black Album came up because I'm a child of the '90s. So because I'm from the 90s, pretty much, I was a teenager in the 90s, so I went through all the Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, and all that. And then I discovered my favorite band in the whole world, which is not Metallica and it's not Slayer, is a band called Pantera.
I remember them.
I'm sure you know about it. And my God is Dimebag Darrell, because I cannot have another one. But of course, I love Eddie Van Halen, which is his master in a way, and you know, all the guitar players from Ozzy Osbourne, of course. But the thing is that I discovered that music, and until maybe 7 years from now, 7 years, I only listened to that. That was very close-minded, but when I discovered sound mixing, it was like my job to discover other music. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah, no, of course.
That was great because my teacher told me, you have to listen to Duran Duran, you have to listen to Seal, you have to listen to Prince.
Well, Seal was produced by Trevor Horn. Seal was on the ZTT label, the same label as Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Propaganda and Act, which was Claudia Brucken's band after. But Seal, man, I had a Seal EP.
Crazy.
And I was blown away by that first album.
The thing is, he told me you can sound mix heavy metal all you want, all right, but you need to have like a bass. You have like not a bass like a bass player. You have to have like a context. You know what I mean? You have to have a background. You have to know the music before you go to the thrash metal or to the heavy metal. You have to know some other music that came way before that. And he was right, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, the 80s. Know? I mean, Jordan, were you going to shows? Were you going to concerts in the 80s? Were you were seeing a bunch of different bands?
Oh, no, I lived in deep shit Arkansas. I mean, we did not have the closest a band ever came to us would be in Little Rock, and that was 79 miles away. So no, right. I've actually never been to a concert.
Even
really?
now?
Even now.
You've never been to a concert
I've
ever?
never been to a concert because
why?
Well, I don't know why. It's just
not even like classical music or anything like that?
Oh, no, not really.
Wow.
Yep.
That's I'm flabbergasted. Not that this is no judgment. It's strange to me because, you know, part of my youth was going to see shows.
Yeah.
You know, it was a thing that you'd camp out. Like I slept on a sidewalk to get Madonna tickets once.
Yeah.
Literally. I was drunk, but I still slept on the sidewalk and got Madonna tickets.
Now my husband, on the other hand, he's been to quite a few concerts.
Okay.
But I can't remember half the ones. He used to be a pothead, so I don't think he remembers half the concerts he's been to. So
yeah, but
Jordan, I'm sorry. Can I ask Jordan one question?
Well,
Now, you said that you haven't been to any shows ever, but if you have the chance after COVID shit and all that, would you want to?
oh yeah, absolutely. I've always wanted to go see a concert. It's just that nothing has really come here to Pensacola that captured my. I want to go see that right now. You know,
If you could
Okay.
see any band or anyone in the world, who would you want to go see? What would be the concert that you would want to see first?
well, I would want to see Bear McCreary in concert. I mean, I would want, but can they? Okay, now can they still be? Can they be? Can I pick someone who's dead?
Yeah, you could pick anybody. Who would you have
Okay.
loved to see in concert?
I would have loved to seen the Cranberries. I absolutely loved Dolores O'Riordan, and she died so young. You know,
That's very unfortunate.
yeah.
I love them too. I mean,
Talking about bands that unfortunately are not here anymore. I was actually pretty lucky living in Argentina to have seen Pantera because, if you know, of course, Dan McDowell unfortunately was killed in 2004, and his brother died from a heart attack in 2017, I believe, unfortunately. So I was able to see them in '98. And unfortunately, the sound on that particular show wasn't great, but I got to see them, so whatever, you know. But that's very unfortunate when a band does not exist, and maybe you haven't watched it, but you have the music. You can enjoy it some other ways, maybe.
yeah. But no, that was a bummer. The Cranberries. That's yeah.
Yeah.
High off her ass and drowned in the bathtub.
Her official cause of death is drowning by alcohol intoxication. That's
Like Sean Boham?
yes, I guess so. That's just nuts. Well, you got to go, Jordan. I think as an imagination connoisseur, I think we have to now make it our mission in life to get you to a rock show.
You're gonna have to ask my husband's permission first. So.
Well, I mean, he's got to take you. You guys got to go. You got to go to a show, man.
Absolutely,
you got to go to
man.
you got to go to like New York or go down to Miami and see it. Plan on it.
It's so weird because I've seen space shuttles and rockets take off, but I've never seen a rock concert. So
See, I've never actually seen a rocket take off into orbit, and I've wanted to see one live my whole life.
Yeah.
I am just loving between SpaceX and Blue Origin's penis rocket. I am loving watching all of these ships taking off and
incredible.
landing. It's like we're in a new golden age of space. There's Chinese in a manned space station overhead, along with the ISS. There's, 2 space stations, I guess. Oh, we had Mir in the International for a while, I think.
Yeah.
But
They were very small, I think.
yeah, but now they're just going to get bigger. It's incredible where we are as far as space is concerned. I love it.
Well, I hope so, but NASA, I think, should not be an owner and operator of its own launch vehicles. They've spent almost a decade building the Space Launch System, and it's jokingly referred to as the Senate Launch System because Bill Nelson, who is now the administrator of NASA, and it's a mess. And here we have Elon launching every other day, landing the rockets back down, and here's NASA plodding along with this ginormous rocket that really doesn't have a mission.
No, and Elon's building his Starship, which is insane, and of course Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin. It's all good. I think. Do you watch For All Mankind, the Apple series For All Mankind?
Saw the first season and I quit watching it after that. I said, this is too unbelievable. Sorry.
Oh.
I saw the first couple of episodes. I liked it.
Yeah.
What did it for me was Deke Slayton's death, and that on that Apollo mission. And I went, nope, can't watch this anymore. It violated my verisimilitude.
Well, I have to tell you, because I really liked Deke Slayton as a character in that show. I thought he was great, but the last episode of the second season is one of the best hours of TV I've seen in a very, very long time.
But I guess my problem with For All Mankind is I know too much about the history. I've been close to it. It's kind of hard to if they had started off with all fictitious characters, I would have gone, okay, I can buy into the premise.
Right.
But because it brings in NASA astronauts, real life people, for me it's hard to suspend my disbelief on that.
Yeah. No, I can understand. I mean, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Well, so listen. Before I bring somebody else on, what anything you guys want to say? Anything that's on your minds this week? I mean, you guys are going to watch the third episode of Loki. Are you excited for Black Widow? What's going on?
Go ahead, you first.
I'm not an MCU fan, so I'm not watching that. There are two things I want to tell you. One is, yes, Star Trek Generations was a crap movie, but that end theme was boss. I love it.
No, it's true.
They should use that the end theme from Generations as a theme song for another Trek series, a proper Star Trek series.
Yeah,
not Alex Kurtzman. And two,
man.
there's a reason why you need to come to Pensacon next year, because Andy Robinson Garrick is going to be there.
And I love him. You
need to come. You need to come.
I would love to come down there. I would love to go to Florida. I love Florida. You know, I would love to go to John Schnepp used to go to a convention in Florida, and I always wanted to go, and I never went.
But we got Garrick from Deep Space Nine, and that's amazing. Amazing.
Well, I want to go to Florida again, but Pensacola is pretty far away from Miami, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about it's 800 miles.
Yeah, you got to fly. You're on the opposite.
Yeah. I mean,
but that's okay. You know, that's I need to go to Kennedy Space Center. I've never been there.
Yes, you do.
I've been to Houston. I almost got kicked off of Houston Space.
Oh, you too, huh?
Yeah, I was. It was very funny. I went for this Schmodown event a couple years ago, and they put me in a hotel right across the street from the Space Center. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that Microtel hotel.
Yeah, and I went over there at night, and I was just looking around because you can still see things there, and I was taking pictures, and I was climbing around the fences. This was like a year and a half ago. And I was taking like selfies me by the whole thing. Oh, I was having the best time. And that was, unfortunately, they used to have the restored Galileo shuttlecraft from the original Star Trek there, but they had moved it by the time I went. But I had a great time, and security came and escorted me off the grounds. Oh, well.
Robert, what are we going to do with you?
I know. I always believe in... Don't ask for permission, just beg for forgiveness.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were we not supposed to shoot on the street corner? I didn't know.
Well,
did you get it? Okay, we'll be going now. Sorry.
My quick story. Me and John, we were at Johnson Space Center, and we went in some room, and there was like this blackboard full of data from Boeing, and I took out my camera and I said, "I'm going to take me some pictures." Click, 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 click. And someone saw us and goes, "What are you doing in there?" We're with the tour. You need to get out of here now. It's like, okay, cool, bye.
Oh, one of my favorite things in the world is at JPL, and I live probably 10 minutes away from the Jet Propulsion Lab here in Pasadena. And I've been in there. Bobek Ferdowski
so jealous.
Took me in. Well, so on the wall at JPL in Mission Control there, they have, you know how you always hear T-minus 10 minutes and counting? Well, they have the T plus board on the wall where they have all the missions that are currently ongoing in T plus however many days and hours, or in some cases years or decades.
Yeah.
And you know, they've got Voyager 1 and 2 up on the wall. It's an ongoing mission. And what is it now? 77. So it's what is it? What is that? 44 years?
Yep.
I mean, these missions are T plus 44 years, however many days. how many
Incredible.
months, how many days. And when you look at that, and you realize that our space program, thank you, has ongoing missions that have been going on for almost half a century, and they're still going on.
Yeah, that's
I mean-
incredible.
I mean,
the JPL Harrys, they build to last. They really do.
oh my God, I was in the vehicle assembly building when the Curiosity rover was being made. You know, and I even have a picture. They have a mock-up. I was in there again, and they have a mock-up of it. And I went and leaned over. I'm wearing my clean suit, and I pretended I was kissing the rover, even though it was a mock-up. They were not happy. They were not happy. I said I needed some rover love. What can I say? But it made for a good Instagram picture. But yeah, man, I love me the space program. That's one of my goals in life is to, Bryan Singer bought one of the first tickets on Virgin Galactic. And when he did this was almost 15 years ago, and he would take me to these dinners with all these celebrities that had bought tickets on Richard Branson's Spaceship One. And I was at a dinner where I sat next to Victoria Principal and across from Buzz Aldrin.
Wow.
Thank you, Brian. And it was amazing. I mean, I'm listening to Victoria Principal, who was still unbelievably beautiful, waxing rhapsodic about going to space. I mean, she was a total space nut too. And I'm like,
Wow.
She knew all the astronaut names and all the missions, and I was like, wow, who would have thought?
I think she has such an interesting sense of curiosity that we don't see too terribly often these days.
No.
We're so turned inward, and we're agitated by every tiny little bit of irritation that comes across the path. So.
Oh yeah, no, it was great being at this dinner. It was called the Founders Dinner, and it was everyone who paid. I even had
Founders Dinner.
The Founders Dinner. Everybody who wrote a $200,000 check for passage on Spaceship One. Brian was one of those people. I actually have video of him signing that check.
I don't want to ask how much.
it was $200,000. Everyone had to pay $200,000, and that was to become a founder. And that was 15 years ago because they were supposed to be in space a decade ago, but they're not. But now they're getting there.
They had that accident several years ago. And
but
they are ready to launch within the next year and a half.
It's very cool. I mean, all this stuff. Who would have thought that it's very, very, very exciting. So, wow, I got to give a shout out to Surak of Vulcan, who during the stream has sent me a download for an MKV file of the Keep. Wow. I have many people that I'm going to have to share this with. I'm going to have to burn this on Blu-ray. This is very, very exciting. So thank you for that. And you can download an H.246 or 264 file, which I'm going to do as we talk on this stream. See, I love you guys. Thanks for that. Surak of Vulcan. I love that.
The father of Vulcan civilization.
I know. Whenever I hear Surak is different than Sarek. How do you vote, Surak of Vulcan?
Yep.
So what about you, Andy? What are you looking forward to?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you a few things that I've seen and I watched. The other day I've seen on Netflix Wandering Earth, and I know you've been talking about that movie a little bit.
Yeah, what did you think of it?
I didn't like it. But here's the thing. I think somebody in China got a cocktail of too much Michael Bay mixed with that Independence Day guy. Who was that? The director of Independence Day.
Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich. It's like a mix of both of the worst things of both, mixed with, I'm sure, a couple of $100 million production because the money is in front of the screen. For sure, the money's there. But the story and the acting was atrocious. And I didn't like it. And it was so out there, like moving the entire earth. That's Robert Meyer Burnett stuff, you know what I mean? But I didn't like it. It was too much.
It was everything but the kitchen sink. I have to say, though, that there was a Japanese science fiction movie called Gorath, where they did the same thing. They built engines on the Earth, and they had to move it. And I was like, I mean, look, The Wandering Earth. I went and saw it in a theater. I dragged Elizabeth to it. And I'm sure she was sitting there going, okay. And I'm like, it's not a great movie.
Asleep? I fell asleep a few times. You know, if you fall asleep on a movie that has that kind of money in front of the street, something is really wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, it just doesn't really work that well.
No, because also it's so on the nose that they are putting themselves as heroes, and I understand that because they've been watching the Americans being the heroes for 100 years, so that's okay. If they have the money and the special effects and all the production, that they are the best people in the world and the heroes that are gonna save the earth. That's fine. But you know, the writing and the acting is not there yet, I don't think, and that's one thing. And then I'm still watching. I'm still moving forward with Star Trek: The Original Series. I'm sorry, I'm not going as fast as everybody else.
Oh no, it's okay though.
But I'm going on the Trouble with Tribble. And I don't know if this is the best episode that I've seen. It
Blasphemy!
Seems kind of funny, and I'm not saying it in a good way.
What is wrong with you?
But before this one, I've seen Obsession, and that's a very, very good episode.
It's a great episode. It's a great episode.
And I'm just moving forward because I love all the characters. So my mind is when you're so in love with the characters, you can see them on anything. And I had that experience before this because I don't know if Jordan knows, but I'm very, very late on Star Trek. I'm sorry for everyone. I'm 4 years late on Star Trek, but better late than never. So the thing is that I've watched Cowboy Bebop a few years ago, and that's an example of if you like the characters, if you love the characters, you can watch them on anything. It doesn't have to have like a big budget production or anything like that. You can watch it, just have a conversation, and you're engaged. Now, I'm sure that every Star Trek fan wants to be Captain Kirk. I'm sure of that. But I want to be McCoy so bad. You know, I'm McCoy, the sarcastic one, the one that always has an answer. You know, I like that one. That I'm a doctor. I'm not that one. You know, he always a doctor and not the other thing that he's asking. I love that. And then when I'm finished with the original series, I'll just move on with the movies. You know, I'll see Wrath of Khan and the other movies because I've seen the motion picture, and then I went back. I'm just telling Jordan because probably he doesn't know. And but I would like to ask you both this because I want you to guide me through this journey, all right? At least in a very small sample. What do you think? Do you think that when I'm finished with all the original cast movies, I should start watching maybe a movie with Picard, or I should avoid that and start Next Generation?
Start Next Generation.
Start because we have many years of Next Generation before I go back to the movies. Right? It's what, 5 years, 6 years?
I would. You know what? I will do you a favor.
Okay.
I will curate the first 2 seasons of Next Generation for you. I will tell you which episodes you should watch because the first 2 seasons of Next Generation are rough going.
Really?
They're rough going. And
in what way? Writing, acting,
all of it. It all
really?
Just and
even Patrick Stewart, all of them.
Well, Patrick Stewart's great, but it's very stilted. It's very weird. It's very weird and stiff. And by the time you get to the 3rd season, it's much, much, much better. But then you won't have to slog through. There's some really, really bad episodes in the 1st season of Next Generation, but there's some also really good ones too. That episodes people even forget. But
I thought that was a very good series all through. I'm shocked.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
The first season's rough, and then the second season was plagued by the writer's strike. There was a 1988 writer's strike, so
Okay.
the second season's very compromised, but there's still some great episodes in the second season. But I would say that there's 26 episodes in the first season and 22 episodes in the second season, and you probably only have to watch 15 episodes total for both seasons. Yeah,
But I'm sure I have to watch at least the first ones to get a hold of the characters.
yeah. But I'll make you a list. All right. You know what? I'll even publish it. I've often thought of people have always asked me about that, because I kind of feel the same way about a lot of, like, the Deep Space Nine. The first two seasons are, again, it's rough because there's a lot of episodes that are, quite frankly, embarrassing.
Really?
When people get to that.
Alamarain, count to three.
Oh, dude.
Oh, no. My God.
Move along. That episode's called
Musicals?
Move Along Home from the first. The funny thing is that episode, I recently rewatched Move Along Home, and I hadn't, just to do it because I was watching Nana Visitor bag on it on the end of the Deep Space Nine documentary.
Oh, yeah.
But when you watch that episode, there's something about it that's interesting. You know, it's really, that part of it's really weird, but the idea behind it, like these aliens and it's this game that they're playing, there's something interesting about it. It's just the execution is absurd. But it is strangely compelling to watch now, because I don't have, I'm going back and I'm like, I'm going to watch this piece of shit to see. And I was like, there's a lot in it. I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I didn't hate it the way I hated it for so long. Yeah. And same with Masks from the 7th season of Next Generation.
Oh, which I hate that episode.
It's a god-awful episode of Star Trek.
Whoa, man, come on.
But no,
really?
it's you'll see.
Yeah.
The thing
I want to ask you something else about that. Keeping on the same subject, the question about the movies, the Star Trek movies. What about if I see the first Next Generation movie? Wouldn't that introduce me to the characters better instead of
No.
Absolutely not.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just asking because I don't know.
Hey, if that's Jameson, here, put a little bit of that in this cup.
It is Jameson. No, it's the Next Generation. Unfortunately, none of the movies are great. The
Next Generation.
Yeah, the 4 Next Generation movies, none of them are great, and for various reasons. But the best movie of the 4 is I think the general consensus is that it's First Contact. But the problem with First Contact is that what it's doing was done better in the series itself, dealing with this villain. There was and it's just odd. The plot for the Next Generation movies, they wrote them as episodes of Next Generation, which would have an A plot and a B plot. Well, you can't really write movies like that. And I think that's why the Next Generation movies suffered, is that they were writing episodes as opposed to movies.
Yeah.
And like all of Star Trek, I think it would have benefited bringing in someone from the outside, like a Nicholas Meyer, who was smart enough to know, I don't know anything about Star Trek. And then he reads Horatio Hornblower, he watches episodes, he understands the classics, and makes something really good. So,
see, that's one of the more interesting things about Nicholas Meyer, is that he doesn't know Star Trek, but then he goes and does research, where you have someone like Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams going, well, I didn't understand it when I was growing up. I don't necessarily like Star Trek. Then why the frack are you writing it?
Yeah. I know. Okay. Well, it's and watching J.J. Abrams say he didn't like Star Trek growing up, it just would drive me insane. By the way, a super chat. This is an interesting super chat. So Riley Parker says, he sends in a super chat and says, I should talk to Bryan Singer about trying to get Warner Brothers to release the 3-hour Friends and Family cut of Superman Returns. The 15th anniversary of Superman Returns is literally in 5 days, and it deserves something special. Well, Riley, I agree with you. I've talked to Brian at length about this, and he has told me that he just doesn't feel the need to go back and revisit the past. He always wants to move forward. And I wanted him to do it because my documentary, I have 1,500 hours of behind-the-scenes footage on the making of Superman Returns that people have only seen 3 hours of it. I'm like, I'd love to make a new documentary. But because of where Brian is and Kevin Spacey is and stuff like that, I don't think the studio wants to, unfortunately, revisit the film, which is too bad because I think the Friends and Family Cut is a better version of the movie than what got released. There's more to it there. It's still it still has what people don't like about the movie baked into it, but I think it's a better movie. And obviously, I was there every day of production, and I'm actually in Superman Returns.
You're in it.
Yes, you said that. Where?
I am. You hear my voice. I have lines. You only see me for half a second. I am the NASA reporter. I am Ross Campbell, NASA reporter that I'm in when Jimmy Olsen and Clark are in a bar talking about Lois, and the shuttle disaster begins to happen. I'm the NASA reporter reporting on.
I'm going back to watch that.
Yeah, but you won't see me. You'll see me for like a split second, but you'll hear me. As a matter of fact, let me see. I think. Let me see if I can find it. I have a photograph of me in an actual still of me from Superman Returns.
Put it on the show. I'll watch it later.
Yeah, well, no, I'll see if I can. Let's see if I can find it. I mean, it's like on my Instagram feed and stuff, but let's see. I don't know why it's not coming up, but it's pretty funny. But it was fun to do because I was a special effect. They shot me against a giant green screen, which I thought was really cool. Let me see if I can find it, if it's here somewhere. Yeah, I just don't know where I've got it's on one of my drives somewhere, but I just don't know where. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, that was fun. It was fun to play a NASA reporter. I found it.
Oh, okay.
I found it here. I will put it on the live. I will put it on the actual live feed. Hang on, which is kind of funny. Let me blow up the picture. So for those of you who don't know, yes, I worked on Superman Returns. I made a 3-hour documentary that's on the Blu-ray. Here is me. This is my part in Superman Returns. I am playing Ross Campbell, reporting from Houston. I'm a NASA reporter, so there I am in Superman Returns, and that you can see that right now on the live on the YouTube feed. And I had a whole speech, and I have to tell you, it was. I'd been pointing a camera at everybody for the entire duration of production, and when the whole crew. They couldn't wait to see me get up and on that green screen and sweat. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's me, Ross Campbell, NASA reporter, and you can see in the foreground, that's Jimmy Olsen in the foreground. No, I wasn't in that scene. I mean, I was on that set. We were shooting while they were shooting that scene, but I was not in the movie. But what was really funny is I'm in the end credits. It's like NASA reporter. I'm credited as Robert Meyer Burnett. It's so funny.
That's great, man.
Well, listen, gentlemen, I'm going to rotate. I'm going to see if anybody else wants to come on the show.
And it's 3:41, and I need to be in bed now.
All right. Well, it was good to see you, Jordan. And Andy, it's always a pleasure. And
me too, man.
I'll see you guys later. Thanks for being here. I love talking movies and the space program with you guys. So I'll see you later. And so that's cool. We'll see if anybody else wants to join the show. I mean, my God, how's it 1:41 already? I have to be on a stream at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and always fun. And the beat goes on, says, I'll compromise myself for YouTube clicks. Like a move. Charlie the Unicorn says that should be framed on the wall of the Robservatory. You know, I should. I mean, I've never done that. I've got some pictures of me, but on the movies I've worked on, but not. I've got like one displayed up. I took Ellen DeGeneres' lead and did a whole Shutterfly deal. But let's see if anybody wants to come on before I turn off the show. I'll put that in. Oh, oops. I just sent the link to the Keep. I'm going to take that out. Remove. Sorry about that. My message was retracted. I'll put this down. And if anybody, let's see if Willie wants to come back. I don't know if he can, but there's the link. Anyway, so yeah, Loki. Anyone excited? I'm still excited. I was very much enjoying the show, so I can't wait to see it. Our man Donnie is here. Donnie is up. Donnie, my man, all the way from Canada. Our favorite Canuck. Hang on, man. Let me I'll put you in. And Sonny Dominguez is here. All right, guys. Sonny, Donnie, this is good. Hang on, give me a minute while I throw you guys in the show. And let's see. I like, Donnie, that you're just Donnie tonight. You're no one else. Just Donnie. Not Donnie. No, but you were always Donnie the Thing or the Doninator, or there was something. You know, it was always something. Let me put Sonny's name down. Sonny, can you hear me? You're good, right? Sonny, can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you. But that's okay. I can't hear you, but I'm going to put you in anyway, because I know eventually I will be able to hear you. So, let's see. Donnie. I'm putting you in the center channel. And here you go. I'm all right, Donnie. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
I'll put you in. Sonny, I still can't hear you, but I'm going to put you in. I can hear Donnie. Oh, wait, now I can hear you? Now you're good. I'm going to put you in the show. No. Donnie's there.
Yeah, just to confuse the guys in the Post-Geek singularity, I am not Donnie Pearson.
You're not Donnie Pearson.
No.
Okay, Donnie and Sonny, you're both in the show. Welcome to Back to Midnighter. Cheers to that. Cheers to you. Cheers. My heavily diluted Jameson with my Pellegrino.
Yo, I'm a Jameson fan, but I usually do ginger ale. I want to try that Pellegrino Jameson.
It's pretty great. I mean, you know, I drink Pellegrino. I'm addicted to Pellegrino. I just suck it down, which I feel.
I'm addicted to those bubblies.
Yeah, I love them too. So how are you guys tonight? I want to ask you guys the same question. By the way, Donnie, have you got any Hot Toys figures recently?
Okay, wait. Funny you ask. Not a hot toy. But, okay, wait. I got two things I want to show you. Okay. I want to show you a deleted scene from John Carpenter's The Thing. Okay. All right.
Is this going to be in 4K?
No, it's going to be live right now. So Richard Simmons was in John Carpenter's The Thing, right?
Well, somebody had to keep the people at the base. Wow, I missed that.
And then.
Wow, that's okay. That's pretty damn funny. I like that. You gotta be fucking kidding. That's very funny. So I guess no new Hot Toys.
But not a hot toy. So, jokes aside, was at an antique store 2 months ago, an hour from Ottawa, and I was there visiting my buddy's shop, and I was there, and then COVID hit, and so it was closed for 2 months. But I was looking around the other kiosks and shops, and I saw this item. I'm like, oh, I need this. I want this, but I didn't have the money on hand. So I had to wait 2 months and wait for COVID to open, or shit to open back. So at this antique shop, I found a 1977 in-box.
Oh, that's the 12-inch one, too. Is that the one with the magnets on the hands?
No.
I love that figure, though. That's Amigo. That box is in really good shape, too.
Dude, there's no dings. Like, even the corners are crisp.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a little... The Spider-Man looks a little faded, but that box is in pristine condition. Wow, can I ask you what you paid for it? Is that gauche?
I don't mind. We all collectors ask what we paid, right?
I know.
So Canadian dollar, I know what it would be in American. Take a guess.
$150.
Add 50.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
$200. $250 Canadian, $200 US.
With that box, yeah.
And I sold my Hot Toy Amazing Spider-Man Garfield, and I would have sold any other Hot Toy Spider-Man to get this. This is more like nostalgic, more valuable to me. Like, even though it's not a Hot Toy quality, this is more.
No, it's me. I mean, Migo. It's where my love of figures for superhero figures began.
Yeah,
Sonny, did you ever collect? Did you collect action figures?
I did, but funny thing, I can hear you, but I can't hear Donnie or see him. So just FYI, I don't know if there's.
Oh, you can't? 'Cause that's weird.
I can hear. I can hear our buddy.
You can hear Sonny?
Yeah, I can hear Sonny.
That's weird because I can see you both. I don't know. It's such a bizarre. How strange.
But I'm watching the YouTube on my TV, and I see what he's pulling up. So that's awesome. It's pretty cool.
Oh, well, okay. Let me. I'll translate. First of all, Riley Parker sends in a super chat and says, "I heard Brian was in Switzerland. I hope he's well." Yeah, I think he is. That's where he texted me from the last time we were chatting, and yeah, he's traveling around doing stuff, but he seemed like he was in good spirits. And Twin Flick says, and the award goes to. I'm not quite sure what that means, but so Sonny, is there? I'll ask you. What's something that's coming up? Black Widow or Fast 9?
Oh, Black Widow. Especially have you and John talked about Fast and the Furious.
I have to say, I watched Chris Stuckman's review of Fast 9, and I agree with it 100%. 100%.
What was he saying?
He didn't like it either.
Yeah.
So we're kind of overdone, unfortunately. And I hate to say that because I kind of like Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It was fun for what it was.
No, it's true. It's true. But Fast 9, I'm the guy that I go so easy on these movies. I love them. And it gives me no pleasure to not like them. And I really did not like it at all. So I don't know what to say.
It was funny. Like I heard your synopsis of the film, how it all doesn't make sense, right? Like this new age technology and everything. And I'm watching the trailers and everything, and that scene you talked about where he's going off a bridge, and the stoop or the stump of the pillar, whatever, of the bridge, and he connects to it and he swings. It's like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, it's just it doesn't. And that's the problem. The whole movie's like that. I mean, for whatever reason, I think it's one of the first movies that was defined by the memes that had been made from the franchise. It's a meme movie. And they just decided to go in a ridiculous direction. And look, I won't ruin the whole scene, but yes, people do go into space in this movie, and it's utterly absurd. You watch it and you're like, okay, they've lost. It's now become a cartoon. There's nothing in this. I mean, you think about the first Fast and the Furious movie, and you see that what happens in this when they go to space, and it's so stupid, and you just look at it and go, "Come on!" It was just so bad. And it's interesting because Justin Lin directing Star Trek Beyond, the last big bad robot Star Trek movie. I'm like, wow, this sensibility that he had, and I'm a big fan of his. It was so far away from doing anything. It's just really frustrating.
Actually, speaking about Star Trek and your love for Star Trek, did Justin Lin do a better job of a Star Trek than JJ?
I thought that his direction was better, but I thought the scripts for all three of those movies were just not good, and they're the idea of having these big bads, like these villains that have to be defeated, is so counterproductive to what Star Trek is. It just drives me crazy that that's the only direction they take the franchise in. That's not what I mean. If you look at Star Trek 4, there's no villain per se. There's an alien probe they don't understand, but why does Star Trek have to be about? It's been ultimately about death and killing since 2009. It's been totally dystopian, and it's not at all what the franchise was supposed to be, and it's just monumentally frustrating. What are you gonna do? What about you, Sonny? Fast 9, yay or nay?
No real interest. I mean, I'll still go see it just because I have the A-list pass, but I kind of just gonna go get a little high before the movie and then just go. I'm just gonna turn off my brain.
Yeah, it's even that. You turn off your brain, you're like, wait a minute, I turned off my brain and I'm still offended. But
Wow.
I mean, Black Widow looks good. I'd
rather see that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Black Widow. I think all the Marvel movies coming out this year, I'm really interested to see. So
speaking of Marvel, I just watched.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Donnie, hang on.
No, let Sonny go ahead.
Oh, Sonny, go ahead.
Yeah, do you think now that Loki's been out, will any of the movies like Black Widow or even Shang-Chi talk about maybe the multiple universes or the possibilities of stuff? Or
I think that we've already. Our first glimpse of the multiverse, as far as I'm concerned, was in Spider-Man: Far From Home, when J. Jonah Jameson was there, and now I think that
wasn't it Mysterio though? Mysterio first did it.
Well,
or him and Peter Parker are like, there's a multiverse?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's stuff going on there that I think we're going to see tie in. But Loki, the thing about Loki is it takes place, well, who knows when it takes place, but 2012. But if you think about it, WandaVision takes place about 3 weeks after everybody comes back, when Thanos is defeated and the blip ends. And then Captain America and Winter Soldier takes place months and months after that. And then Spider-Man: Far From Home, I think, takes place 8 months after people come back. So we're filling in this time, and I think Black Widow, some of it takes place during the blip. So I think that we're absolutely going to see whatever happens in Loki set up the multiverse of madness, whatever happens in Spider-Man: No Way Home leads right from Loki, which will lead right to Doctor Strange, and I think they're doing kind of a limited series within the MCU of this multiverse business.
So, Rob, did you?
Hey, I got a wild theory for you, Rob.
What's that? Sorry.
I got a wild theory. What if Owen Wilson's character is a Loki variant?
That's a very interesting theory. Owen Wilson being a Loki variant, he definitely could be. I mean, I could see that happening. Although that character is a comic character, like he is from the comics. So, maybe. I mean, but I'm curious. I haven't watched tonight's episode, so
I did. I watched it.
Oh, you did. You already. And without spoiling anything, Donnie, what'd you think?
So, if you're already, plug your ear. I'm not going to say spoilers, but just, we already know who we saw female Loki at the end of episode 2.
Yeah.
Or during episode 2. It's there's a lot of great dialogue, right? But the
a lot of good dialogue.
but the back and forth between female Loki and Loki, the comedy is just cheesy. It's,
Okay.
It's like Star Wars, like, you know, Force Awakens comedy or whatever. It's just like shit's falling on them, and they're like, you know, making jokes back and forth. It's like, no, fucking.
All right. Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, it'll be okay. Does it leave
like
us in an interesting place? Does it end well?
Well, it's episode 3, right? It's
right.
not like the last episode.
Right.
Yeah, there's no really big kind of cliffhangers or anything.
All right. I'll be curious to see where that ends up going.
It's more like a back and forth. Like you want to listen to the back and forth and understand the time variant and all that shit.
Right. By the way, Twin Flicks sent in a super chat where they said that when the award goes to me, I guess, for my Superman cameo. Yeah, no, that was fun. It was fun to do. Sonny, are you excited about Loki? I forget. Are you watching the Marvel shows?
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of the top 10 sci-fi shows of all time for me.
Yeah.
It just has that.
I've been enjoying it. I hope it's good. I mean, I have been enjoying it so far. But so let me ask you, what's something that you're looking forward to coming up? What in the next, genre, TV, movies, what are you looking forward to?
Rob, have you seen the trailer for Reminiscence, the new Hugh Jackman movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Reminiscence. I'm looking forward to the new Hugh Jackman movie. I believe it was directed by Lisa Joy, who, worked on Westwood with obviously Jonathan Nolan. It looks really interesting. It looks kind of like 4 or 5 different things that I know mashed together into something else, but it looks good. I definitely want to see that. There's a lot of really interesting science fiction films coming down the pike that I really want to see. The trailer for that new series Invasion, where it follows a bunch of different characters around the world. It kind of looks like World War Z, the book, when you follow all these different characters around the world when the world is invaded. And it looks pretty neat. I mean, I saw that. And I just saw with Sofia Boutella. I just saw a trailer for a movie called Settlers, about people that are on Mars or something, out of some alien planet, and something. There's a lot of craziness going on. That looked interesting. I'm like, okay, I'll watch that. I'm in.
Speaking of craziness, what's that new M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's like they're set on a beach?
Oh yeah, the M. Night Shyamalan movie is called Old. And
yes,
Old.
I saw that trailer. That looks really intriguing.
That looks really good. It's actually based on a French graphic novel that I read. It's very existential, and the graphic novel doesn't provide a lot of answers, but Shyamalan has said apparently that he used only that as a jumping off point. But that movie looks crazy. The premise is great, and I'm in. I think Old looks great. I can't wait to see that.
And
hey Rob, speaking of graphic novels,
yes sir.
Would something like Contract with God, the Will Eisner, be a good adaptation, or Love and Rockets, or even Strangers in Paradise for either TV, film, or streaming?
Oh, I think all of those things would be great. Contract with God, Strangers in Paradise, and Love and Rockets would be great. I'm surprised in this day and age with everybody talking about diversity that Love and Rockets isn't a thing yet. Where's that show? I mean, I would think that would be something that would lend itself quite well to a streaming series. Why not? All the diversity in that comic, who knows?
And speaking like a little bit off of sci-fi topic, what do you think about Will Ferrell in The Shrink Next Door?
I watched that the new Paul Rudd Will Ferrell series, The Shrink Next Door. It looks funny.
Wait, is it a series? Oh, right, it's on Apple.
Yeah, it's a series.
It's a series, not a movie, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It looks good. I don't
have Apple, so
yeah, me too. It looks fun.
It looks fun. I thought it looked good. I was like, all right, I'm in. I'll watch this. Why not?
Yeah, and it's cool seeing Will Ferrell not like necessarily being, Will Ferrell. And And he's almost like he has a master's degree. Like he's actually a really high intellectual, like Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. By the way,
Like
Sonny.
Jeff Goldblum,
Oh, go ahead.
Jeff
Sorry, Don.
Goldblum has one of the highest IQs in Hollywood.
Yeah, and plus, you can go watch him. He plays at a jazz bar. I don't know if he's done it in a while because of COVID, but you can go like once a week in Hollywood. You can go watch him play. Him and his band play jazz. So, and he's
Are you talking
accessible.
about Carol or
No,
Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum.
Really?
Yeah. You can just go see him play, and he'll talk to you and interact and everything. I liked your letter, Sonny. Was it the letter? It was your letter about being here in LA. The
post on my Facebook.
Oh, I that was a great. I love that. I thought that was really honest, and I really enjoyed that post quite a bit. So well done, sir.
I appreciate it. It was at 4:00 in the morning. I got really high, and I was just kind of streaming consciousness, and I was like, I've been having this idea for a digital one-man show in my head, and I just started writing it.
Yeah, you got to do it, and put it up.
Yeah.
Like why not put it up? I mean, there's no reason why you can't. There's even, when John we did a 100 million views party in Burbank, and he rented out a theater.
Yeah.
I think it was off.
I was there.
Oh, you were? Oh, so that theater, you could.
Yeah.
It was really not expensive at all.
Yeah.
And the tickets, I mean, I think he sold tickets. He gave either they were free or $5. I don't know what they were. And that was fun. That night was great.
Sure.
And why not? I mean, what do you have to lose? Write that play and put it up. You star in it.
No, exactly. I just gathering up all my thoughts and everything. So, but I do. Go ahead.
I mean, I have to tell you, it's so like today. I've been working on the Tango Shalom for 5 years, and a lot of people would say, "What the fuck? What? Why would you work in this little low-budget indie movie?" And I'm like, well, I took the job, and they have money, they don't have money, you work on it. I worked on my ass off on it. Well, we have distribution, and that's always the goal for a lot of independent movies I've worked on didn't get distribution. We have distribution. I can't say with who, but I like this company, and it's female run, and they really are behind the film. They're going to take it to Cannes, and so I've been working. Uh-oh. What the hell was that? I don't know if this is that's a weird. Well, what I was going to say is that we got distribution, and Sonny, you just got to stick with it. You just got to keep going, and then suddenly you get distribution. I don't know why I've been cut off. Maybe that's a sign, guys. Sonny, Donnie, what I'm going to do is, I don't know why there was some weird hiccup online. What can I say? Anyway, I think then on that note, the Lords of Cobol have spoken. I'm going to bring an end to episode 19 of Midnighter. I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to thank everybody for generously supporting the channel via tips and super chats. Thank you so much. If you want to write me a letter, you can at the Burnettwork.net website. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Thank you for subscribing and liking and hitting the notification bell. That's always helpful for the channel as well. And I'm going to bring an end to this episode. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Bunyan Snipe for moderating. I want to thank The Richard, as always, for moderating. Thank you guys for being here. And I'm looking forward to what The Richard's concocting. And there's all kinds of cool things going on with this channel. And I want to thank you for all being a part of it. I will be on Latino Slant tomorrow at 9 a.m. Then I will be on the John Campea Show. And then I will be on As Heel vs. Babyface's channel on Hot Toys. And then back on Robservations at 3 in the afternoon, 3:30, and then back here on the Midnighter. Oh my God, too much streaming. Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. And I want to say, remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen. Sonny, Donnie will get you back tomorrow night, earlier. And on that note, I would say to everyone, have a better night.